is, okay? All right, so we are still working on back, but working on it in a different position. So in heel position. Heel position, when we talk about it in foster puppy class, is a looser term than if you were to take like a competitive obedience class or something like that, where heel needs to be very precise. We are not worried about it being a very precise thing. Heel is also talked about when you walk with the dog and they do like this pretty high prance that Joe doesn't know how to do. And the dog's head is up and their legs are prancing out. We don't do that with foster puppy. So heel position is just a general thing of I'm standing here and my dog is even with my left hip, so their shoulders or their head are about even with my left hip. If he were in front of me like this, he's not really in heel position. I want him to be a little bit farther back. Good boy. So this is working on backing up while the dog is in this heel position. This is weird for some dogs because we typically work with our dogs directly in front of us. So when we try to work with them on the side, they don't respond to that as well because it's different and it feels strange. So you may need to take a couple minutes to reward the dog for being on your left side and staying stationary and hanging out here. I'm going to use a chair or the wall or this bench again to help line my dog up in the correct space. He needs to sniff this for a minute, that's fine. I'm going to give him that moment. Yes, there was another dog over here. This is what you have to look forward to with a teenage dog that is intact. They need to sniff and then they drool over everything, right? Okay, so we are in heel position. He's hanging out here. He's comfortable here. I'm going to do pretty similar hand movement that I did before, where it's hand on the nose, and I just guide my dog backwards. And he goes backwards. He may only do 1 or 2 steps at a time, and that's okay. I dropped the cue out because this is a different context. I want to make sure that he can do it before I add the word. So I can do that to guide him backwards and he moves. I'm limited by the amount that my hand can swing backwards. So I could step with him. Yes, and then we do more steps backwards. So that's an option. Or if my dog is very in tune with me, I can wait till he's paying attention to me, he's checked in. You're not lined up straight. Come here. Good boy. So he's paying attention to me. He's not paying attention to other things around the room. Now he is. Good boy. If I step backwards, well, you didn't do it this time. He just stayed there. I can try again. I could maybe add some leash pressure if I wanted. Oh, good boy. So I didn't do leash pressure that time, but me hanging onto the leash here seems to make a difference for him. So I can do that where I just move backwards and see if my dog moves with me. Yes, what a good dog, yay. Or I can do the hand movement and move together. Or I can just do stationary. I stay here, yes, and then I guide my dog backwards. Whichever feels, you can try all 3 and then pick the one that feels the most successful to you or feels the most natural. I would pick one of the methods and then stick with it for a little while so that the dog starts to understand what it is that you're asking them to do. If you change up the method every single time, that's going to get more confusing. So maybe test all 3 of them out if you want and then pick one and work with that for a little bit. Again, once you see that the dog can do it after 3 or 4 times, then you can add the verbal cue. Otherwise, you don't want to start naming things if they're not doing the correct thing. I want my hand to be either level with my dog's head so that he's not looking up, or I go under his chin. I don't want to try to do one of these over his head because his butt's starting to drop because he thinks that I'm asking him to sit, but I'm not. Any questions on back and heel? All right, let's